For those of you who are not entirely sure,
it means I was born in the year 1990, in independence. I struggled for, fought for. But the struggles of today is different than the struggles of yesterday. We are now in a new era. We're not even Googling anymore, we are now doing AI. I remember when people started calling me a couple of years ago, how do I AI? Because I'm in the IT industry. I do AI development in IT, actually. And I remember how people called me to say, how do I Google this? Now they ask me, how do I AI this? The times are changing. We can't solve modern problems with 50, 30-year-old tools. It's not possible. But we still need guidance. The world today is full of extremely misleading information. I have another quote that I love dearly, which says that if you don't read the news, you are uninformed. If you do read the news, you are misinformed. That the world is dangerous. Technology is bringing out news. Let's just get it first. And that brings me to one of the core points of why I think I am different than most. And that is, I truly believe, and yes, I will say this at every single speech I give, I think this country, our communities, and our people have lost relationships. We have truly lost relationships. How am I, as a councillor, it is my job to represent the citizens of Windhoek East. How are you going to come to me with your problems and complaints if you don't trust me? How will you trust me? Hello. Hey. Welcome to A Namibia 454 Swapi Party. Here we go. Keep your tender inside the aircraft at all times. Thank you. And fasten your seatbelts. Here we go. So as I was saying, how do I expect people to come to me with a problem, with a complaint, with a concern, with an idea, if they don't trust me? I've said this 1,000 times. Think about your bank, think about your mechanics, think about your doctors, think about most people that you interact with. Doctors, mechanics, and everyone at the bank, I love you dearly. It's not aimed at you. It's aimed at the process. It's faceless. It's cashless. And we have started treating each other like that. What is my job as a councillor? My job as a councillor is to ensure that the needs of the people are met. It means that if you have a pothole, if you have a bursting water pipe, if we have a housing problem, if we have infrastructure problems, if we have transport problems, it means that you need to come to me and I need to go shout at people. Not necessarily shout, let's say negotiate. Let's call it just vigorous negotiations. But how? How do I do that if you don't trust me? And that is why I'm saying the first thing I think, I believe, and I stand by is that we need to repair the relationships between the citizens and the government, between private and the government. Because so many times in these campaigns have I heard that the government does nothing. And in a certain degree, if you look at the city of Windhoek in the situation, you are not wrong. But it's because we have been fragmented. We are not a united community anymore. If you have 15 people that have to do something and decide on something, and hello. All right, back to loudspeaker. We adapt. If you have 15 people that have to decide on something, and they are in pockets of 4, 4, 4, 4, how will you do anything? How will you achieve anything? I don't think it's hey, I don't know, every time it comes back it just feels like we're starting the groove again. But how do you realistically change anything that way? You cannot. You cannot. Let me give you an example. I was pained We have resources in this country. We do have buildings. We have staff. Let's mention the word COVID. How many people, I'm not specifically just talking about nurses and doctors, how many people jumped into the medical industry? A lot. And now? That monstrous world-ending pandemic is where? In the back of our minds. But we're sitting with the infrastructure, we're sitting with people without jobs. And let's say there's a group of doctors or a group of people or a group of businessmen that comes to me and says, Councillor Flip, we have identified this building. We can then target these people to give them services. We can give these people jobs, and this is how we can make it sustainable. My job is then to go and advocate, to lobby that, to help you with that process with the correct powers. Okay? So now we have this brilliant idea. We can change thousands of lives. More than that. But now we get to a fragmented government because people don't know who to vote for. People don't know who to trust. That is what we need to break. We need someone that can be trusted. We need someone that can, at the end of the day, assure you that whatever wish, whatever idea, it's not about a brown envelope. It's not about the clout. It's not about whatever is attached to it, but for the good of the people. We need someone that we trust to know that when we talk to them, that is what they will be pursuing. And the last thing, I stand here before you today. We just got another. And I will say it straight. I stand here today as a white person wearing the SWAPO regalia. Because most people say SWAPO isn't for white people. Most people, SWAPO isn't for non-Wambus, whatever the case might be. Then how did I get here? How did I get here? It's because we have a new democratic government. We have new ideas, we have new leaders. Yes, we can talk about whatever is in the newspapers. Our new president, Her Excellency, I call her Mother Netumbo, because she has to take care of this country. She's cleaning house. She's cleaning house, but who are the people on the ground that has to help her do it? I don't know about you, but so far, everything she's promised, she's more or less done. We can argue about the timelines, but that's semantics. Who are the people that has to help her implement this plan? It's us, it's the councillors, it's the people you vote for. So how can she carry out that vision if she does not have the team that she needs? I want to implore you to think about this. And it's not just about whose face is on a poster today. It's not about who's in Parliament tomorrow. It's also about the legacy we leave behind. I'm sure most of the people here have children. What are you leaving behind for them? Are you leaving them the education and the wish of a united Namibia, free of hate, free of prejudice? Or are we going to keep saying that person is wearing a different color, whatever it may be? We need to unite. We need to realize that we are only damaging ourselves and our own progress. Our own health system, our own education, the future of our children, our infrastructure. This is what you are impacting when you go make that cross. So, in closing from the address part, because there is still an engagement for questions and answers, I will say that come 26, when you look at that voting paper, you should ask yourself, what am I voting for? Am I just voting for a person? Am I just voting for a party? Am I just voting for an option? That shouldn't be like that. So in the closing of my address, I will say that I'm the type of person that if you ever need to talk to me to find the peace of heart, to say, Flip, what are you going to do about this? What are you going to... Hello. What are you going to do about security? What are you going to do about parks? We have nowhere to go with our children and our dogs. What are you going to do about security? What can we do with Neighborhood Watch? What are we going to do about domestic violence? What are we going to do about unemployment? What are we going to do about housing? Housing is just, the housing crisis isn't just for low-income housing. It's for medium and high. I've seen, for example, whenever flats in Olympia or Eros or Sederhof, if it goes open, it's not open for more than 2 days. What does that mean? That means that there's a problem. That means that we have a crisis. And all of these things start by uniting the government, giving the president the team that she needs. So when you go vote the 26th, I want you to have peace in your heart that you're not voting for an option, but you're voting for someone that values relationships. And I'm not going to bore you with the data part. I just said I'm an IT. I make decisions based on data. I don't like guesswork. Never. But more than the party, we are all Namibians. We are all neighbors. Let's repair those relationships, and come election time, let's repair our country. Thank you very much.
Okay, you're sure you understand? Okay. Thank you very much, Comrade De Brayr. Comrade De Brayr has told us his story and what he's going to do for the constituency. There is a very close linkage between the regional councillor and the local authority councillors. Now, the district coordinator, Comrade Unona, talked about the infighting at the city of Windhoek. Windhoek East is currently under the rulership of the opposition, the IPC. The councillor is Honorable Brian Black. Now, I doubt Honorable Black was able to do anything for the constituency, for Windhoek East, because of that infighting that's taking place at the local authorities. We've been dealing with potholes. We've all been dodging potholes for the past couple of months, and they have not all been fixed, and we are entering the new season, the new rainy season. Security breaches. We're seeing an increase of street children roaming our streets. We have seen these children, apparently they're coming from Angola, selling cooking sticks. Those are also entering our district. That's also a risk to our security. And many more other things. Our trash is not being picked up on time, whereas it used to be picked up early in the morning before you even make up. That was your alarm, in fact, when you heard that truck. That truck comes at 5 p.m. now, when we're rushing from work. So you can see where the issues are, that disconnect, where the regional councillor is not able to fight for us at the local authorities because there's that infighting. What's happening at the local authorities is you have a cocktail of parties there. Yes, it's called a democracy, but as long as you have a party that does not have an outright majority, decisions are not going to be made. This year, the mayorship has IPC on it, the opposition. The management committee, which makes all the important decisions, has opposition, members of the opposition, 5 seats, chaired by AR, the affirmative repositioning, another opposition party. SWAPO only has 1 seat in there. They have no impact in there at all. Now we can complain about SWAPO, but I think the opposition was now given an opportunity to prove themselves in the last election. They failed dismally. We're feeling it right now. So if we don't ensure that SWAPO gets that majority in the local authorities, and we don't ensure that we vote for Comrade De Brayr, our SWAPO candidate, we're going to continue experiencing this for the next 5 years, and who knows, maybe for the next 20 years. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is our candidate of Windhoek East. He has presented himself. This engagement is not supposed to be a one-way engagement. It's supposed to be an interactive engagement. So we're going to open up the floor now to take comments and questions, and also give him advice. We've got the older generation here, our ambassador Mvula here. He's been part of the district leadership for years. Comrade Harold here, very big on solar, on energy. This is the kind of guidance that our candidate needs. He's a born free, whatever he calls it, yeah. He needs our guidance. So comrades, we're opening up the floor now. We'll have a roving microphone going around. Just raise your hand. I really want us to engage. Don't be shy.
Just while people are thinking about their questions, last night the one thing that I had is they said, Comrade Flip, you did this entire speech and you didn't actually talk about any specific problem. And I said yes, because it would be ignorant to sit up here and say potholes is a bigger problem than water. Electricity is a bigger problem than domestic violence. So I'd like to say that all problems are equally important, because what is important to our former First Lady, for example, is not important for our resident of Ludwigsdorf in Anna Street that has a problem, for example. And a lot of the problems that people think we don't have in Windhoek East. Windhoek East is the most affluent and the wealthiest constituency in the country. That shows prestige, it shows business owners, it shows educated people. And that's why I also know, out of experience, a lot of times educated people avoid conflicts and talks. Because they say the smart people just avoid, they ignore you. They don't like to get into a scuffle. But this is now not the time for that. This is the time where we invite you to say what you need to say. And yes, it's not just about asking questions, it's about advice as well. Because the one thing, another thing, I like quotes. The other quote that I also live by is one that says, a true student is, or a true master is an eternal student. The moment you stop learning, it's over for you. So we have got some questions there at the back. We can just do the microphone. Get them there.
At the back.
It's not a salute, it's just a makeshift cap.
Okay, my question is, how are you going to engage with the youth from Windhoek East so that we have like more employers than employees? And how are you going to tackle the economic crisis or anything that which is related to Windhoek East constituency? How are you going to make sure that the youth are more engaged into decision making, or even maybe like, how are you going to make sure that the elder council, the youth are more engaged when it comes to the development of Windhoek East? How are you going to tackle that? How are you going to do that? Because we need more economic data instead of employment data.
Comrade Youth, I like the energy. Tackling a problem, saying the economic crisis. What does that mean? You see, the thing is, if you talk about the economy, you're talking about many different strains. You're talking about many different sectors coming together. If you're talking about employment, you're talking about many different things. If you're talking about opportunity creation, you're talking about many different things. The simplest answer that I can give you, if you want to know what my plan is to first get as much data as I can. I just said that. Now, I can turn this question into another form to make it more easily understandable. Let's talk about it in terms of potholes. It's very easy. My question was, the first time that someone ever asked me about potholes, as I said, and I will do this for education purposes for you now, or in terms of education, are there more potholes in Olympia than in Cederhof? Are there more in Ludwigsdorf than Avis? If there are, who counts that data? How is that data verified? How long does it take to repair one in Olympia and one in Avis? Why does it take 3 days to repair one in Ludwigsdorf, but it takes 2 weeks to repair one in Kleine Cooper? You see, the problem here is, I think we're facing a very complex problem when you talk about employment, when you talk about economy, the economics of the country. Our country still has divisions of government running on paper. How do you count that data? How do you verify that data? How do I create jobs when I don't know where the real problem is? Okay? So one of the first things that we need to do is we need better data. We need to know why. We need to know if children are, or if the youth, let's not say children, if youth are not getting jobs, is there a common, hello? Hello? No. Right. If youth are not getting employed, is there a common denominator? Do they need more education? Do we need to involve more VTCs? Let's take COVID, for example. I think a lot of people went into the medical industry, I just said so, and now they're sitting without jobs. Do we need to realign what people are studying? If you have an oversaturation of a certain sector, there's no employment for them. So what do? Do we realign VTCs? Do we look at other forms of education? Do we try and find new forms of opportunities? Another thing that I spoke about, I want you to really think about this in the long run. If you think about jobs, if you think about opportunities, if I create 50 jobs now, and I say, okay, 50 youth are getting this jobs between the ages of 16 and 19 years old, or between the ages of 21 and 24 years old. We have a gap for these youth. Now, let's say all of them are 21. Now they get to 25. Now I throw those 50 youth away. What did I fix? I created a temporary fix for 50 people. You can't, that doesn't solve the bigger problem. It doesn't promote sustainability. It doesn't promote growth. So you're correct in saying we need more employers, but what does that mean? That means we need to create an environment that's safe and secure where more people are willing to invest money. If the economy is not stable, if there's things like COVID, if there's things like political instability, people don't invest. People, foreign investors, even local people don't take out money because they're scared of losing it. What do they need? What do most people that own companies, I don't need to say, there's a lot of business owners in this room, far bigger and more experienced than me. They want security. They want to know that tomorrow there's not another silly employment act being enforced upon them. They want to know there's not a new taxation law. They want to know what's going on, because if you've got a popcorn government, it's all over the place, kaleidoscope government, then the strangest things are going to happen. There's no unity. How are you expecting someone to create more jobs if they don't know if the investment that they're putting in to create jobs and put into the economy is going to be safe? So my comrade youth, you're quite right, but the very, very start of that is we need to repair our government. Because if there's no stability, there's no trust. If there's no trust, there's no investment. If there's no investment, there's no growth. There's no growth, or in building anything, there's no jobs. So this is a long line. And yes, I actually feel for the youth. I feel for the youth. 71% of this country is youth. And they're fighting for jobs. They are absolutely fighting for jobs. Now, the sad part of it is the majority of it, not the sad part, the difficult part about it, not sad, it's difficult, is that part that is the 30 or the 29% is normally the part with the money, where the companies and things start. And there's also a disconnect. So there's no quick fix here. But I can tell you, if we create more political stability, people will invest more, they will open more companies, whether it's local or foreign investment, and we will create more jobs. But if we continue this circus that we got now, I think, I just saw a news article, my dear comrade said that we passed zero non-budget in Parliament. Zero non-budget. How do we want to move forward? How do we want to move forward? We can't. And if you look at that, and you're a business owner, and I come to you and say, listen, let's create a new factory for 500 more youth to have jobs, you're going to say no, because you're scared. So, comrade youth, that is my, as condensed, I promise that was as condensed as I could keep it, but answer to you.
Viva Swapo!
Viva!
Viva Swapo!
Viva!
Solidarity, freedom, justice. That is what inspired me in the year 1983, and that's why I'm here. You may count back where each of you was, 1983. I always feel privileged when I have the opportunity to say something to an audience where the average age is below my own. Now, I had the privilege to choose to be African, and I choose Namibia because it's the best country in Africa. Viva Namibia!
Namibia.
We are only working on the color. Now, I was referred to as the solar guy, and many people call me that, and that's so far so fine. And you said you would like to have guidance. City of Windhoek has written off 191 million in unrecoverable debt. Council, as fractured as it may be, in the moment is discussing to write off another 545 million in unrecoverable debt, despite all the stuff with Red Force and so and so. Actually, that's a comparatively smaller problem. So what does it mean if City of Windhoek writes off whatever number of millions? It means that you, I trust that all of you pay your municipal bills, do you? That you are subsidizing those who are not paying, whoever it may be. The reason why, or one of the reasons why we have such a high unemployment is because many people in this country do not have the financial means to use the services of SMEs and NGOs and other small, medium enterprises and so on, so on, so. Actually, we have a growing number of people who has to consider, do I buy another bag of maize meal, or do I buy another beer, or do I maybe not do anything because my children need a new school uniform? So many problems, not all of them, but many problems we can solve if we put more money into people's pockets. Besides that, that would also make us as a party much more popular, and we would be voted for. So how can we do that? And that is a clear-cut task, and I'm convinced you will be elected for. City of Windhoek is buying imported electricity to roughly a value of 1.3 billion every year. It varies a little bit up and down due to many conditions. The country, Namibia, is importing electricity to roughly a value of 5 billion. In comparison, the national budget is just above 100 billion. 5 billion. What I would like to see is that City of Windhoek obligates every person who wants to build a new house to cover a roof in solar panels and to install a solar water heater, because solar water heaters have the problem that in the evening they create what we call a large peak, and that peak is very difficult to create and to service and to finance. Then City of Windhoek should remunerate in cash the owner of such panels at avoided cost. Avoided cost means pay them in cash the same money that you pay for imported electricity. If we keep that up as a party, and not only in Windhoek but all over the country, we can put 5 billion into people's pockets. So what I like to see is let the sun shine directly into people's pockets. And I promise you 100%, and that's not politics, that's reality, the sun will never send you an invoice. So if you would like to have more information, because this is not a forum to give too many speeches about one subject, I'm doing electricity or I'm doing energy policy from building solar cookers up to mega and gigawatt investments. And I will be very much prepared to answer questions or to give guidance or to help people who would like to change. One more thing, if you allow me. Our Ministry of Industrialization, Mines and Energy has a fantastic plan, and that's called the Solar Revolving Fund. Solar Revolving Fund gives every person who wants to invest in solar energy a credit of 5%. That is very, very cheap. And that is very progressive. And I would like to urge each of you, use the opportunity. I'm doing many business plans and calculations and measurements and whatever. I have not had a single case where somebody who was installing a solar water heater or installing solar panels afterwards had less money. Everybody had always a little bit or a little bit more cash in the pocket from the first month. So there's actually no reason not to go solar. And there's no reason not to change the structure of how city of Windhoek is dealing with its citizens in such a way that more money will be in the citizens' pockets and nobody will have to pay. We don't have to take anything away from anybody because the sun is for free and we just do import replacement. Thank you very much.
You gonna take one more?
Thanks, Flip. You say you're a data guy and you don't want to talk about data, but I do. In our last election for this constituency, I think there was about 8,657 votes cast. We got 1,615. We got 18%. The data is important. And what I want to know from you, having run your campaign now, you've got about a few days left. How do we bridge this gap? Because we probably need about 4,000 votes.
19,000 registered voters in Windhoek East.
And we've got low voter turnout.
Yes.
So we're probably estimating about 10, 12,000 people will pitch. We probably need about 4,005. Our last candidate got 18%. I want to know how we're thinking of bridging that gap and how we can be helpful, all of us, to you to bridge that gap. And then the second is probably a piece of advice about language. And I'm coming from a big meeting in Kigali where Namibia consistently comes up as a top performing country. So it's difficult for me when you use the word circus to describe anything, particularly for the party that you're campaigning for. So I think we must be mindful of language, but we also be honest about our failings, both as a party, at constituency, at regional, and at government level. We must be honest about it, what we're going to do to fix about it, but we mustn't become those who lament hopelessly as if it cannot be reformed. It can be reformed. But let's pull each other together in this path and in this journey.
I like this. I said before, I like engaging with elders and those with more experience than me because it becomes lessons. No, I said people with more experience. That's why I added the second part. Madam, you're still a spring chicken. I mean, what? Not a day older than 30. What? I want problems. No, that's why I added the experience part. But it's good to engage with people and be corrected because those small pieces of advice become trademarks on your path to the future. I remember one of our other SWAPO elders, I don't see it right now here, one of the first rallies I ever did, I stood there and I said, we're going to change this, we're going to stand. She came to me and she said, like these. I'm like, what? She was saying not small things. And as we progressed, people started, if you listen, people have something to teach you, everybody. So I like this. I think the solar is something that I have a dear comrade here also in the construction industry and so on, and the solar issue is something that we've been talking about for a while. We were also very progressive in our younger years, saying we need a nuclear power plant. Why can't we put one in the desert? Then we looked at the hydro plants that we've got in the north and the percentage that is operational, and then we read about solar power. So I know solar is a very, very underutilized technology that we've got available here. I just think that education part and a little bit of awareness of the actual schemes and programs that's available is something that we can definitely work on. So that is definitely something that I will follow up with you. I appreciate that very much. And Madam Honorable, Comrade Monica, if you look, there's one statistic that I want to add to that. 2015, there was roughly about 3,600, 700 votes. We got 1,700. 2020, there was the 7,000 votes, and we got 1,600. So there was more than double voters, but we had less. So looking at that data, something went wrong. And I think in terms of what we stand for, not just as the party, but as a community, was fragmented. I think people are frustrated. And I think people are tired of promises, empty promises. And yes, while I have a policy, I don't speak bad about people. I just don't believe in that. I think the previous councillor, as that was said, tried his best, but there's only so much he can do with the situation in the city of Windhoek. I think the difference this time is coming from the background that I'm coming, having the engagements that I'm having, and really looking at the core of problems, not just with papers, but genuinely sitting down with people. I think this time people have seen that it's a different type of candidate. What we did is, I said, unlike, yes, the youth is there. We did engagements. We're doing engagements tomorrow again with the youth. And I think on Saturday we're also doing again with the youth because they're 70%. But the one thing I said is let's also focus on the part that we didn't focus on before. I think the engagement we did last night, comrade, where's my comrade? I think it was the first of its kind, the one that we had at Our Heels, where we said, let's engage these people that we never had engagements with. Let's sit down with the communities, the business communities, the elders, because they are still part of this community. It's not just the 71% that we need to focus on. So this time, I think more holistically, people understand and know their candidate better and what my intentions are. And I also think that because of everything that I have gone through to get to this point, maybe people will see, this guy's a little bit different. I don't want peace. I want fixed potholes. So what's different is a better strategy, engaging people heart to heart more, and sincerely showing that what I've said so far, in my track record for everybody that knows me, knows that the data-based decisions that I make have always yielded results. And I think that this time, especially in the sporting communities and Olympians on that know me, have faith in what I can do. That will be my answer to that. Thank you, ma'am. There was a hand back there somewhere. Someone put it up and put it down
There
again.
is a hand here
Oh,
that has already got the tools.
apologies.
Yeah, elders. Well, I regard myself as a middle-aged elder, not yet elder per se. Monica is somewhere at the, well, middle-aged youngster. But you see, the problem is that her gray can confuse us all. Her gray is because of wisdom. My gray is because I'm aging. But let me just say this. Flip, you started off talking about lost relationship in our society today. And it's lost. And we need to recover from that. And it's only through issues of engagement that we can most probably recover a lot of this lost relationship. When people don't meet, when people don't discuss, when people do not look at each other in eyes, they will not be able to solve problems. And so we go around. Now, what I want to talk about is an old age dispensation. And we have started creating it in some areas. You have got what we call neighborhoods nowadays. And this is created because of a situation of security. And there people get together And I think if we can make use of this type of a system, when, I don't want you to say when you are elected, once you sit in that office, start planning towards engagement of communities. And it would start with creating consultative platforms. You have got Ludwigsdorp, you got Cederhof, you got Olympia, you got all these neighborhoods. If you can create a network of engagement through these already established establishments, you will be able to listen to the people, you will be able to be available to the people, and everybody will be able to reach out to you, not necessarily because you are going to them, but because they have you every time and you create a program of that type of an engagement. We're talking about youth here. And I don't want us to create a notion that the youth is forgotten and nothing is ever said about them. You are there. You are part of us. We don't necessarily need to talk about a program we are creating for the youth. If we are creating a program for the neighborhood, you are included, but become visible. Show that you are interested, show that you are there, and you can partake, whether it is in a mixed program where we are not just talking about youth, but in a mixed program of the neighborhood, and take the lead. Show that you have got more to offer, as Flap said, so that as elders, now I'm talking about elders, so that as elders we can sit back. But how do we sit back when the wagon is running without somebody navigating it? So that is the challenge to the youth, and I want you to Google up a targeted review report on youth unemployment. And you will see what are being offered there in that report. And it's not just an empty report, put at least some value to it. Last thing I would want to say is we need to meet more. And by meeting more and exchange views and offer opportunities and offer, programs, offer ideas that will be able to take us forward. I mean, opportunities like this are very rare. And we all just go around, but we can see the leadership in you. We can see as you started, you have already identified gaps in terms of where you want to reach out to. And as a leader, take that leadership and we will definitely follow. Thank you.
Thank you very much, my elder. I'd like to mention 2 points on that. The first one is coming from the background of IT and AI and these things. I've realized, and I've said this earlier, Windhoek East is a very progressive constituency, very affluent, business-driven. So it's very difficult for someone in a high position in a company to find time to always come to the office of the constituency and say, I have this and this and this problem. One of the things, this is something that I'm still in the works of finding out, is, for example, to see if we can't get more government feedback platforms where you at night in your bed can type on an app on your phone if there's a grievance, if there's a problem. I know there's apps for potholes and things like that already, but there are other ways to create engagement. So I'm very, I'm with you on this one. I agree totally, because different people engage in different manners. The youth are more on the digital platforms, and so are some of the business-minded people, because I know there are some leaders here that if they have the platform or a direct link, they will type that message into that box. Even if they are in the farm, they were angry when they were leaving here on Friday and Saturday or Sunday on the farm, before they come back, they will give that feedback. More engagement platforms and more in-person feedback platforms. I think this is not the first engagement we've had where someone suggested this. last night at the previous one, the first one that we had as well, everyone says, why are we only having these discussions on elections? Which is a good question. Are we only trying once every 4 years? Or is it only because of that? So I definitely think that is something that should be more regular. And the second thing, the youth, yes. I also want to reinforce our elder's point here. No, not elder. Someone told me last night, you never say elder, you say upper youth. For those of you who might not know my complete portfolio, yes, I've said now IT, AI, all of that. I'm also the president of Electronic Sports in Namibia, registered under the Namibian Sports Commission. So those of you who play PlayStation, computer, cell phone gaming, I'm the president of the organization that gives you national colors to go play worldwide for that. Yes, it's a professional sport in Namibia. Yes, we send our athletes to play for hundreds of millions of dollars. But we are the ones that are with the parents saying they can't sit and play 8 hours, so please don't worry about that. That's my job, is to teach the education and the health part of the esports. I'm also a board member of the global governing body for esports, meaning the body that globally governs esports for all 161 member countries that they have. I'm a board member there as well. And all of that experience and all of that development I'm also bringing home. Esports is not just the people playing games or the PlayStation or the computer. It is the whole infrastructure. You need technicians, you need media people, you need partners like MTC. They need to create technician jobs. How do you play if you're sitting in a village somewhere between Undango and Wadiva around there, if there's no reception, how are you going to compete? So in that sense, in the sporting sector, I will always stay active, even if I have to resign. If I become councillor, I have to resign. That's unfortunately the Sports Act. But I will keep developing it as much as I can, because I think through the technological developments, we can create a lot of jobs. So youth, yes, I will not leave you behind, trust me. And thank you again, my upper youth, comrade. Please go ahead, comrade.
Go ahead. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Comrade Flip, for your authentic brief. Now, we know that problem solving is a big part of the job. But if you look at leading countries, they are built on leading cities. So what are your thoughts beyond problem solving? Because at some point, the dream has to be bigger. And so how are you thinking, with all the skills that you bring, how are you thinking about taking, firstly, Windhoek, and then the region, and ultimately the country, Windhoek to be a leading city? Because that would have to transcend solving today's problems.
Comrade, now you're speaking the music of my heart. I had an engagement I just came from. We had the discussions and I asked them, why do I need to, for every minister working, to provide my details again? Doesn't matter where you go in, NATAs, Home Affairs, this, that, you always have to fill out papers. We are punishing, and now this is my personal opinion, please. I believe we are punishing the wrong class of people in this country. And as soon as we can stop doing that, we can move forward. Why are we spending time on administrative tasks when we should be running the company? Why are we writing off debt and the people who are already paying are the ones punished? Why are we punishing the people that's doing the right thing? Why? I believe we can truly, with the population here, we can truly create a digital society that can push us. And now the one thing I want to make very clear is people are always talking about AI and software will take jobs. No, look at any country. China is one of the leading, Korea, Estonia, 100% e-governance. Romania, who was it that has the AI minister now? Is it Turkey? Albania. They have an AI minister now. And not a single person lost a job. Not a single person lost a job. Imagine, we also in this country have this, I'll check my language, madam. We have this protocol of where we put decisions in the hands of certain people where I don't think it should be. I think certain decisions that are currently made by people in certain positions should not be made by them. It should be made by a digital system. Fish quota should not be decided by people, for example. Licenses for many things, EPLs, this should not be done by people. This is my opinion. That, in my opinion, is something we can sort out very quickly. More, and the thing is, when you talk about, the biggest problem I've got right now is people think when you talk about programming, software development, you are talking hundreds of millions in 3 years. That is not the case. That is a 10, 15-year-old mentality. You can create a comprehensive government management system for someone like Home Affairs in 2-3 months. If anyone wants to take a bet on that, we can talk afterwards. Because I know it's unreal. The concept's unreal. What we have been taught is months, years, millions. That is not the case anymore. We can do e-governance, a complete e-governance solutions in 3 years for everyone. That is the timelines we're looking at. Now I will ask back, why? It's because the people who need to make the decisions, these decisions collectively aren't there. Why is it that why is it that if you get a speeding ticket in Otjiwarongo, you must pay your speeding ticket there? Why can't you EFT it from here? Why is it that I must drive half an hour, 45 minutes to an office to pay $10 for a fishing license and I used $50 or $200 of petrol? Why is it that if you walk into the equity office, I had a visit there recently, I had a very good discussion with Mr. O'Neill, but I feel really my heart bleeds for the man. It's just papers. You will be the first case in Namibia of someone drowning in papers and not water. But that's the society we're creating because we are nitpicking what we are developing and not developing. So in my case, we need to get people who understand the industry and really know the technologies to drive it, and we can become a leading city and stop punishing the people who are actually doing the work. That's my opinion there, man.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Comrade Philip. Mine, I just want to add to Ambassador, it's in relation to youth empowerment and development. I think most of us here, we know that government has put in place the youth fund. And a few weeks ago, statistics were released telling how many youth successfully got funded, but very, very few across the whole country. So I don't know now our youth who are here, if they are having information about that, if they are not interested. If you look at Commerce region as a whole, it was less than 10. So I think probably information, and these are some of the things the youth, the councillor to be youth, to really get engaged and get together. So I know some challenges are to do with business plan, development and preparations. So I think we should find ways of assisting our youth so that they should be able to be guided properly and tap on this very, very crucial fund. It's a fund, it's like a money given away with no interest. Yeah, so I think that is one of the things the youth should really try to get engaged and put forward their business plans and get assisted.
Ma'am, I want to be right before I answer your question. That's a very good statement there. Who here knows what the CDC is? CDC, the Development Program for Youth by the Constituency Office. Okay, so I see 3-4 hands. There are so many programs running that provide opportunities for youth to bring business plans and so on that are funded. Today, my company employs about 15 fixed positions, 5 add-ons, ad hocs. I Two, I'm a product of that CDC. When I came fresh out of school, I was a lecturer in Polytech. I got 2 laptops for teaching. And today my companies, the turnovers do about, or the main one, the IT one, does about 3 to 5 million a year. From 2 laptops. So again, these programs work. But what did I have that I saw later on nobody had? Mentorship. Proper mentorship. Again, the relationships we're talking about. There are youth in this country, I've seen business plans, especially because I have data, I can gather them, I can analyze them very quickly, with amazing ideas. With amazing ideas. Nekrotal Dam, how much did that cost us to build? Billion? What are we growing there? Not even a milli. Not even a milli has been growing there as far as I still know. There was youth that had plans there to erect infrastructure, agriculture, a lot of projects. But the mentorship to say, okay, you're going to grow this, but how are you going to package it? Who's going to maintain it? How are you going to employ? How are you going to empower people? How are you going to teach them? Who are you selling it to? Do you already have the ideas in place of, the government act of having shops buy local produce? Do you already know where you're selling to? The mentorship wasn't there. And so all of those plans got rejected. And still as today, unless someone sends me a picture, I will tell you there's not even a milli growing. Onkruid, grass, on $1 billion project. So, youth, if you need help, there are sources, there are programs. And this is now where I make my appeal to the main and to our upper youth, our elders to be exact. Mentorship is something we've left behind because we have people leaving. We don't have proper handover. We don't have proper programs where people sit together. That's one thing I want to address for the youth. Because I'm not saying, please, I'm not going to challenge our education system. But there are certain skills that you are not taught at school. You're not, unless you do accounting, you don't understand tax, you don't understand VAT, you don't understand this and this and this. And how it all fits together unless you study business. But now you have entrepreneurs, you have people that have really good ideas that was not taught that did not have that opportunities. But now they've got a good idea, but they're shot down because of one thing. So that is something that I do want to address really. But again, it is a resource problem. If we spend time on administrative processes instead of growing the country, it's going to be the same problem there. To share with you, again, I went to the Ministry of Sport after they tried twice to build a national management platform. I went to them and I said, I'll build it for free. All we need to get is MTC or a partner to fund it. And this is where I learned again the wisdom. At then the minister was Honorable Agnes Chongarero. And then the question she asked me is, I said, do you want to know how many kids there are on Maheke? You want to know how many kids are in sport in Windhoek, how many kids are in sport in Maheke or Irongo? And she said, yeah, Flip, but I also want to know how many kids are not in sport. Where's the data about the kids that are not in programs, not doing business, not participating in sports? And all this starts with fundamental data and pulling it together. So that is my passion. Madam, you just opened my can of passion here. I love data, and I think it's truly the way to go forward. And ma'am, the youth, to help them, to educate them, to reach them, because most of the youth here are very, very savvy with the phone. They live on the digital space. So we also need to make an effort to reach them where they are. That's my comment to that, ma'am. Thank you.
Can I speak? Thank you very much. My name is Avis. I'm the Secretary Youth for Reverend Tumangelo, and I'm also the Vice Chair for Research and Development for AI. On volunteer purposes, we are trying to help the government on the AI strategy. Hopefully, they'll give more money, hopefully, for infrastructure. And I just also wanted to add on that in terms of infrastructure, digital, if you go to UNDESA page last year, I was privileged to write a document with them on digital transformation on global South. And we realized that Namibia, we are still on 0-0 in terms of e-platforms and e-digitals, that you can get it on Investa platform for last year. There's a book on that. But in terms of AI and digital is something that we talk about. We say we want Namibia to be digitalized, but we're not putting the effort in it. Just going there to explain to the banks and telling them that when you see an ICT person telling you that they just don't need computers, they also need funding for software. They don't even understand what do you mean. What is a developer? So, but I'm also happy to see that the Grant of Minds, they have that part for ICT. Yes. And I also own Treaties Consultancy where I do interpersonal skills and mentorship. And I also just wanted to correct something on the youth fund. There was a pilot study first. So with the pilot study where they were doing on the different regions. So they selected those. Now, and then after that, that's why a lot of people were like, why only few people? It's a pilot study, they just want to see. And then now then they had to also change the years. So it was like 35. And then like our candidate would say, now if you turn 35, where do you go? Now they went to 45. And so now for the youth fund, you have you have the grant, which you don't give back. And then you have the one that now, if your business is registered as for like 2 years is actually like one of the core requirements, like should have been registered for like more than 2 years. Like 2 years is the minimum. And then that one you give like, you get like a loan, and then you have to pay like a certain percentage back on that. Yes, if you see on the criteria that are there. Yes. So and you can you can see, you just have to go on the Ministry of Finance and see when actually everybody can now get the forms. I just wanted to correct on that because a lot of people were going on about the youth fund and they really didn't understand that there was a pilot study, and then also they changed the years on that area. But again, like to say, I just wanted to say that for us, the youth, we are ready. And for the CDC, again, everybody from each constituency, in your you go to your councillors' offices, they always say that we have a grant. And in that grant, you have to apply, you collect a form. And also one thing that I noticed, a lot of people write, but they don't understand what they write. So you need to understand, and you're welcome to always come. If there is funding and somebody wants to sponsor any youth for treaties, we can actually help them develop their business and also understand their cash flow. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Comrade Abia. I love the passion.
Thank you. Comrade Councillor, and the Comrade Incoming Councillor and the District Coordinator, Comrade Dunona, I want to thank the Windhoek East District Leadership for taking a decisive and bold decision to present a young, vibrant, and fire-burning candidate for Windhoek East. Something that is commendable in the sense that for far too long, the energy of the young people was close behind the door. But you want this energy to be given and portrayed to everybody. The candidate has his heart in the right place. What the candidate would need from all of us is to make sure that on Wednesday next week, each one of us, when we go out of the house, we take our children who are 18 and above with a voter's card, and I hope we have already ensured that. We stand in those queues and we make sure that on Thursday, we are announcing that we have flipped Windhoek East. The energy and the thinking, we are now noticing that we are no longer at sloganeering, but the candidate has advanced and shifted the tables to be discussing technological intervention in solving our community problems. If we can implore him to take the 10 others, the 9 others, because we are going to win Windhoek East, we are flipping that one, and we are going to take the other 9, and we control the regional council. The energy and the language that must come out of the Commerce Regional Council cannot be the same as that of Wangwena Regional Council, cannot be the same of that of Omaheke. We need to begin to see that the voter, and it's good that you have analyzed to say that the voting bloc has doubled in 2020, but our numbers were stagnant. There was a crisis. But the leadership of Windhoek East says to answer that crisis, even if it's going to triple, we are bringing and matching the candidate that the voters are going to vote for. So I believe that all of us carry a responsibility to deliver and flip Windhoek East on Thursday. When we wake up, that's the news we must wake up to. With that said, there will be a lot of work, Comrade Councillor, a piece of advice. There will be a lot of work because where there is new ideas, you must be prepared to face a bit of resistance. Not from the outside, but from us who are your comrades. Because with change, there's always pain, but there's laughter and joy at the end. Because everybody must go through that pain to enable us to get to the joy. So you must never be discouraged when we come and don't understand the agency that you want to do things with, when you don't understand that the world of technology is exactly data that we must use to resolve our issues. And you must be the champion. You must utilize the office to champion those changes together with the 9 others so that you speak as a unit. And lastly, it's really about the disconnect. You couldn't have said it any better. For far too long, we need to produce a leader who has identified one of the key problems that we have in society. It's the disconnect. We don't greet our neighbors. Even us who live in apartments don't greet our neighbors, but it's your immediate neighbor. The only time we get to greet each other is when the guy from the other side comes and visit and there's neighborhood watch and the police. What happened? I thought he's from your flat. But if we develop that relationship to have connection with one another, and that's the essence of humanity. So I think that is the campaign message we take, that we want to resolve the disconnect. And finally, I speak like a politician, which I'm not. We have developed a slogan. We have developed a slogan that says that in the SWAPO party, we are having one center of power, particularly for these regional and local authority elections. We have one center of power, which means that when we go in the ballot, when you get the blue ballot, we are going to flip Windhoek East. And that's voting for the SWAPO party and flip the brain. When we enter the second booth, or when you get the second ballot, the yellow one, we don't look any further. We look for the Duke and the Maniki, where you'll find them in Netumbo, and we vote there. So that is one center of power. So you have now dealt with the potholes. You've now dealt with the issues of writing off debts, punishing the unpunishable, bringing services to the people. So ultimately, you have created then one agenda. Because if we are saying we are tired of potholes, there is no way when Flip the Brain says no potholes in Windhoek East, Comrade Dunona at City of Windhoek is going to agree and is not going to reject, because it's one agenda. So where is that agenda going to lead to? It's to total victory. We need to regain and flip Windhoek East. We need to regain and flip Commerce Region and City of Windhoek in particular, so that we can have majority and we can have one center of power, one agenda that leads to total victory. And I thank you very much.
Comrade Comrade, I appreciate that. I was also told just to say we can take one more question after this, and then they want to move to the end so that those who need to leave, those who stay can still engage and so, but let me respond and then we can take one more question as we are out of time. Comrade, there's one thing very, very close to my heart. And I always tell people, true relationships aren't always when we agree. It is when we can respectfully disagree and have a constructive conversation. When we finally see the resistance you are talking about is when someone can come to you and say, you have just said this, I don't agree. And then we can sit down, we can look at the facts, we can drink some tea, we can look at the facts again and drink some more tea until we get to a compromise. Having a good relationship with someone, being on the same team does not mean blind loyalty. It means a constructive conversation to go forward. So please, I like the resistance, because the one thing that most of us forget is when someone comes to you, and I like Comrade Monica here, so I'm going to use as an example. When she says language, it's not because she's angry at that, it's because there's passion. When someone comes to you and says, you just did this and this and you want to enact this policy, you want to fix that, and they're angry, it's not because they dislike me as a person, it's because they are passionate about what they're talking about. And too often we take these conversations too personally. We take it far too personally. Realize that the people talking to you, looking to you in the eye and saying, I'm talking to you because you are the person in power, and I trust you actually with my concern. I'm not fighting with you. So yes, and Comrade, the youth, yes, I might be big and I might have big kapunda, but trust me, energy is a lot. I still move. I'm just sitting in front of the computer programming most of the time, but yeah, there's energy. So yes, also thank you to our leadership there. So I think we have time for the last question. I think there was a youth comrade there, and then I have to close the session so that our comrade Nabata can take us to the end, and then those of you who stick around are more than welcome to still come and talk to me and engage and such. Comrade, please go ahead.
Yeah, I see. Good evening, everyone. As it was said, the relationship is lost, and it's true. It hasn't only been 1 year, it's been years. This and that has been said that to be changed or this will be done. I wanted to ask, how will you assure that what you are saying, as also we are told, us as the youth, we should give you advice. How will you assure that what we are going to say, or the advice that you are going to get from the youth, is not only going to be ignored and it's not going to be implemented? How are you going to do that? How are you going to regain that relationship or that trust of the youth? That's my question.
Comrade Youth, I like the question.
There's one more hand. Are you going to take both immediately?
Okay. If my comrade leadership says more questions, I have to, at this point, I must still say yes, comrade. So, Comrade Youth, let me quickly address and then we can go at this side. Comrade Youth, I think it's not just youth. I think there are many people in this room that get up day after day and they are worried. They are worried. Am I going to be okay? Am I still going to have my job in a month, in a year? Is there another pandemic coming that's going to break my company? Can I pay my bills? Can I pay my next car? Is the geyser going to break and I have no hot water? What if my child gets sick and I can't pay? I promise you, there's a lot of fear in a lot of people. And even more so in the youth, because you are unsure, you're inexperienced about life. I can't speak as if I'm my elder, but I understand. The relationship that I'm talking about is also a relationship that you need as the youth to say that if I bring my concerns to my elders, to my community, is that they will listen and they will have a plan for me. Because what do you have? You have your whole life ahead of you. And if there's no future, if there's no opportunities, what do you do? Now, Her Excellency, Mother Netumbo, has put forth the manifesto. And in that, there's a lot of money towards development, youth, sport. And I urge you to go read it, read it again, sleep on it, literally sleep on it, so that maybe at night Bluetooth, read it again. There are opportunities all around you, but the ask of the youth must be in line with what the government can do. The ask of the youth must be in line with what is realistic. The ask of the youth must come from an educated place and not a place of emotion. Emotions is good because that's what's driving youth. You're just passionate, you want to build a nation. I want to do it now. I want to put it on my Facebook. Take a selfie in front of my sculpture, whatever you want to do. The passion and the emotion is needed. But when it comes to future and employment and business and money, it must be structured. It must be logic. It must be in line with what the government can. So, my advice to you, as someone, I was supposed to be in my last year of youth. I was called a senior youth and now they're moving youth. I am advanced youth now. I'm leveling up. The biggest favor I ever did myself was to not just read, but really try and understand what these programs, what the manifesto is saying. And once I understood that, doors opened for me. Again, here I am. I understood the party, understood business, understand how it works together. I spoke to people. I tried to really internalize what is it that is expected of me for the elders and these, because for the longest time, and for those more advanced than me, I love you still, but for the longest time, I was always under this impression that there are this greedy bunch of people that don't want to give me money, they don't want to give me opportunity, they want to give me nothing. Until I understood why. My business plans didn't make sense. It would make sense for a month and then stop. After that, where's the longevity? Where is the empowerment? Where's the growth? So the best thing I can tell you is, I promise you there are people listening. There are really people listening. And one of these examples I can take because I saw it with my own eyes. The previous minister of sport, again, I'm going to use that as an example, Honorable Agnes Chongarero, she sat with her tracksuit at sporting events, listening to what the youth is complaining about. And then afterwards in the boardroom she said, but what's happening here? And there are more people amongst the elders that do this. But here's the other part. You need to understand that we live in a connected world. So it doesn't help you just carry yourself professionally here. But what do you do when you leave here? What image are you bringing here? What image do we know you are portraying outside? There's a lot that goes into it. So, understand what you're asking for. Read where the alignment is. Read the manifesto. And the next time you make a business plan, make sure those things link. And you will see a whole different world open up with those people who have to grant you or accept these grants. Who have to give you that opportunity. Internalize it. You are youth. Put in the hard work. You still have it. Go sleep at 1 a.m. just for a bit. Work on yourself. And then, I promise you, different world awaits. But if I'm counselor, I'm closer to the age of youth. I understand better your struggles. I grew up in the same memes, the same social media, the same ecosphere as you. So that also helps. There's a breach now. There's an opportunity for a breach. I sit and speak very well with our upper youth. I engage very well with business people. And I understand youth because I work with them in sport every single day. The average age of esports players are 18, 19 years old. That's lower youth. So, the ball is in your hands, comrade. This is a free country. Our elders, our forefathers built it to be free. You can become whatever you want. Do it in the right way.
No. Sorry. We have to end the session now, the engagement.
Okay.
I mean, it's a very robust and interesting engagement, but we still have more time to engage socially. You know, people are tired. There's some that actually want to go home. So I would encourage you to just engage Comrade Flip afterwards. Otherwise, we'll be here until midnight. I mean, it's very interesting. I mean, and we are all passionate about this, and we want to win Windhoek East back. So please forgive me and engage him after this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Could I just basically just say something to the youth? Is that okay?
I'll give you 5 seconds.
5 seconds. All right. Okay. So, Comrade Flip, congratulations. I think we're going to win this in 26th of November. It is up to us to take it through the line. Next week, counting down the 5 days to our winning victory. To the youth, as we are mentioning around here, and it's very important, right? The opportunities is not only going to be presenting itself from government itself, but there's so much opportunities around you also that you yourself, I mean, you guys have so much intelligence, you've got so much wealth of knowledge with the upper youth wealth of knowledge. How powerful could this be if you give your ideas through to our councillor and then make a success out of it? At times we are hearing the complaints, but sometimes you have the answers to those problems. So come over with the ideas. I just want to go quick to stats.
No. I gave you 5 seconds. You went way beyond the 5 seconds.
All right. One more time. Congratulations. We'll take it through to the 26th of November. All right.
Please engage the comrade, the candidate after this. Before I hand over to Comrade Ian, I want to thank everybody really for this robust engagement, for the advice given, the criticism, constructive criticism, and the encouragement for us to all go out in numbers. I just want to share some stats since data is very important. So in 2020, we had 17,308 registered voters in Windhoek East. 8,605 showed up to vote. And that was much more Comrade, do I call you Comrade? Oh, okay, Comrade Monica stated. That was much more. So there was a lot of anger 5 years ago. What we saw in Windhoek East, in fact, what people literally did, they brought in their children from South Africa and from universities outside, just not in South Africa, outside Namibia to come and register, specifically for the elections to punish SWAPO. That's what happened in 2020. And SWAPO ended up going from 48% from 2015 to 19% in 2020. Even small parties like LPM got 407 votes in Windhoek East. I don't know how that happened. But we need to avoid that in this coming election next week. This year's registered voters, the final voter registry that we got from the ECN this week, we have 19,546 voters, registered voters in Windhoek East. And if 2020 was anything to go by, we have a lot of work to do, comrades. So as many of our speakers here mentioned, we really need to go out there and work very hard for Comrade Flip to win next week and for SWAPO to gain back this constituency. Before I hand over then to Comrade Ian, I also want to acknowledge other candidates that are here. We have Comrade Wayne Sissing from Commersdal. Please stand up. He's the Commersdal constituency councillor candidate, working very hard in Commersdal. We have Comrade Paulus Emmanuel. He's also a candidate for the local authority. I'm not sure where he is now. Yeah, I'm not sure. I hope I didn't miss anybody else. It's a bit dark out there. If there are any other candidates, I hope I did not miss you. Please forgive me. So at this point in time, before it gets much later than it already is, I would like to invite Comrade Ian Subasubani to come and give us a vote of thanks.
Good evening, comrades. It was a long day, and I'm sure many of you have been here very early. Good evening, Madam Kenkos, Honorable Shifeta, I'll stand on the protocol that is already established by the previous speakers. I'm asked to say a few words or words of closure. And in those few words of closure that I'm going to state this evening, let me highlight one or two things that I picked up from the speakers that were standing on this podium. One, it's an issue of unity, be it in the sections, be it at the branch, be it at the district, in the region, or at the national level. If we do not safeguard the element of unity, we will very soon kiss goodbye to SWAPO being in power. So this is a message for all of us. The second issue is the issue of service delivery. We need to focus for those that are in government. I think service delivery is one of the elements that is bringing the SWAPO party in disrepute. Now, when we talk about service delivery, it's not necessarily the local authority. I bring in elements of bureaucracy. We spend a lot of money as a country holding elections, but the bureaucracy or the technocrats, they tend to frustrate the agenda of government. Whether you are a councillor, whether you are a governor, whether you are a minister, whether you are a member of parliament, the technocrats are holding the SWAPO party at ransom. So we need to be resolute in terms of executing whatever mandates that have been given to the party, as those of you that are functionaries of the party. Now, Comrade De Brayr, you have the support of the leadership of Windhoek East. We wish you nothing but the best next week. Many of us will wake up on that particular day and will make sure that those that we can bring with, we'll bring them with to go and cast their vote in your favor. That being said, I wish you well as you depart from here, all of you, and you have yourselves a blessed evening. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Comrade Ian. So we have refreshments to my left. At the bar, we have a tab there. Feel free to grab something to drink. And this brings an end to our engagement. Thank you very much, comrades. Oh, okay, Comrade Biola, please come close to the prayer.
Allow me to pray in Mavinic for the evening. Qotizirang wasachai. Chaire elo sidati ngasa. Isidata opnetang wakaruba. Sadu chomgagukas qainse. Sang akose sanda. Jesus glory. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
I want to take a picture here before. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Sonia?
SWAPO! SWAPO! Now! Now! Thank you very much, comrades. We must now go and press her.